Hello, dear Starshines. Christina here with the Light Body Academy. Welcome to today's Lunchtime Chats. For those of you who are new, my name is Christina, and I am an acceleration expert. And we are here to talk about topics and issues that are significant to us star seeds, way showers, and new paradigm visionaries. So I do, to the best of my ability, to provide a liberated perspective to the kinds of challenges we face. We are in this world experiencing everything else, experiencing these things with our human family, but we have gifts and abilities that we embrace that perhaps our larger human family does not. Therefore, the challenges that we experience are very unique to us. So I'm here to do my best to open up and give that liberated perspective so we can navigate these challenges with sovereignty and with freedom and liberation happening within. So welcome everybody to the chats. We're going to do things a little bit differently today. What I'd like to talk about with you guys today is one, the solstice. Happy solstice to you all. We had the sunrise. The sunrise yesterday morning was the first day of the new year, so to speak, the new sun. And with that is new opportunity to set our intentions and to focus our energies on our visions, our hopes, our dreams for the future. And then I also want to talk about astrology. I had a dear sister Starshine message me a while back asking about my take on astrology because intuitively she was feeling that astrology could be old paradigm versus an expression of energy that is aligned with the new paradigm, our becoming, what we are becoming. And I would like to address that because this is a very relevant thing that many star seeds have made comments around with me. And I would like to split that hair because there's something really significant going on here, and it is being reflected to us in the stars and the cosmos in our astrology. So I'd like to dive into that as well. So hello, welcome everybody. I know I was a couple minutes late, so just I'm just killing time while everybody comes on in. So for those of you who really love these chats and get a lot out of them and are interested in perhaps really taking that big step forward in 2022 to retake charge of your life and really step into your mastery as a quantum creator being, I encourage you guys to check out our new Quantum Reality Shift program. It's a 6-month program centered around how to loosen those quantum entanglements we have in our subconscious that's remanifesting old stories. So we do that in several different ways. We do that using a forgiveness practice to facilitate ancestral healing, ancestral liberation, but then we also go into how to use this process to go into the Akasha and beyond to unwind additional entanglements that are have harnessed our creative force and is manifesting multiple reiterations of old stories, old patterns. So I really love this this program because it is something that anybody can step into and do. And if you work and you're not available to partake live, it's all recorded, so you can actually do this process on your own time and at your own pace. So if this sounds interesting to you, I encourage you guys to check out lightbodyacademy.com, and you want the quantum reality shift. I can't imagine a greater way to launch yourself into 2022. So where do I start with the shenanigans going on? Okay, actually, I'm going to go a little bit more into that self-creator thing. So, humanity has been conditioned with experiences, and we're also conditioned via our lineage. So even if we don't necessarily prescribe to the same beliefs that our parents and grandparents did, those beliefs, those patterns are still alive in our genes. It's still alive in our subconscious. maybe we consciously make a choice to choose the opposite of what they modeled for us, or maybe we embrace what we've inherited and we find strength in that and move forward. Either way, these old paradigm rules, these old paradigm belief systems, and how they harness our consciousness and narrow the bandwidth of our awareness is still in effect. So it doesn't matter if your relationship was great with your parents and grandparents and great grandparents, doing ancestral clearing can still benefit you a lot, because you are liberating yourself from those old patterns that are locked into your genes, and you free up that quantum, you free up that life force energy for you to reallocate with your own creativity, to reallocate into something that serves your vision, the vision that you have for yourself and humanity. Okay. And, a lot of people are super triggered by the shenanigans going on right now, and how the control systems are overstepping, and they're doing this and they're doing that. Well, they're able to do that because they are aware of these grander cycles, and they are aware that we are actually dreaming our world into being, and they are investing full on into manifesting what their vision is, what their agenda is. Okay. I mean, they hire experts that are the best of the best to do studies so they can get information. They hire experts that are the best of the best to organize and implement systems. Okay. So they're envisioning, and they're looking at the details of what needs to happen for that, and what they're envisioning to have to be applied in the here and now population. Now imagine if you invested that much of your life force energy to what you are envisioning for your life, and what you are envisioning for humanity. Okay. It doesn't take many of us. It just takes enough of us to be fully enough, committed fully to doing this, to be able to trump them at their own game, pun intended. Not that I'm a trumper, because I'm not. I'm just, this is an interesting metaphor that the universe is giving us in the narrative. Everything that was hidden at one point in time is now exposed and in our face. It's just a matter of us having the eyes to see it, the willingness to know. Okay. And the more we are willing to know the truth, no matter how scathing that truth is, the more empowered we become, because we are armed with the truth. We are liberated from the lies. So we're no longer draining our life force energy in battling or getting involved with the lies. Instead, we're narrowing our focus and becoming that arrow that hits the bullseye that is the truth. There's great power in that. In 2022, this is what I believe humanity, the ones who are choosing to be empowered anyway, that are arising to the expression of their highest form of their humanity, we are going to manifest massive change. We are going to have all the willingness that we need to make that quantum leap into reclaiming our quantum creatorship in this reality. So I'm excited for 2022, but I'm also seeing that that's also going to amp up the turmoil and the conflict, because the powers that be have been in charge for a really, really long time, and they are not going to go down without a fight. So that means we need to be equally committed, equally resolved to focusing our energies, our bandwidth, in creating what it is that we want. Okay. So that means coming together in community. That means unplugging from these systems that distract us and keep us spinning our wheels in emotional reaction. So things like social media, things like mainstream media, things like the power plays that are happening. All of this, we are being challenged to unplug from and focus our bandwidth on really what matters, really what is going to contribute into our vision, rather than reinforce to us how powerless we are against this Goliath of the control systems we face, right? All right, let me know if you're feeling what I'm talking about. All of you are dreamers, sacred dreamers. All of you are intuitive, and I have no doubt that each of you have your sense of what's coming. Okay, so so let's talk about the astrology here. Let's bring in astrology, because this is one of the cycles that the powers that be absolutely are deeply informed about. And not just the short cycles, they also take advantage of the long cycles. And these cycles, if you're looking at just the planets in our solar ring, these cycles can be a couple years to several hundred years. And each stage of these cycles have flavors that that they all are aware of, and they have mastery of how to pull things forward through. Okay, they can match their envisioning to the rhythms of the solar ring. So they are not just working with collective human consciousness, they are working with the collective planetary and solar consciousness as well. Okay, so in this way, it's really, really essential for us to educate ourselves on the cycles. What kinds of cycles are happening? What kinds of cycles are we being impacted by in the certain areas of our lives? Okay, let me go ahead and draw my little chart here so I can illustrate what I'm talking about. Now, this graphic that I'm about to draw is one that I draw all the time for you guys. And not only is this a graphic, but it's an activation process. And this activation process is something that I learned from a dear starshine by the name of Barbara Hand Clow. It took her many, many years to distill this energy, this consciousness. It took her many, many years to explore this model and understand it at the level that she understands it now. And the same for me. Pretty much everybody who's studied this, who have done the activation work with her in person over the years, knows what I'm talking about. It took quite some time to digest this information, because there were so many subconscious blocks. There were so many things in our collective field, both on an individual level, on an ancestral level, but then also a collective human, larger and mass level. There were so many blind spots to us opening up to this information that it was really a challenge to explore this. You really had to have the right group of people. And when we were first getting introduced to these frequencies, we would have to have healers standing in the back of the room to help us process this, even though it seemed like we're just talking about. Oh, look at that. What happened? I'm back. Hello, I'm back. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, so we had to have healers at the back of the room to help us move the energy blocks that were throwing us out of our bodies, because we were triggering these energies with our conversation and exploration of different different kinds of things we were referencing. So the fact that I can draw this model right now like this, and you have consciousness, you're not falling out of your chair. This is an indication of just how integrated the collective has become, okay, with this energy model. Okay, Now, this particular model is showing us on how the upper dimensional planes, and of course, there's a lot more dimensions than just 9. It's showing us how these upper dimensional planes are engaging with our consciousness. And that's our consciousness as a collective, our consciousness as a group, as an individual, your consciousness around your cells. Okay, so there's a macro micro component to this. So we have the core of the earth, the Pachamama, Mother Earth. She is the one she's the sacred dreamer within which we are all submerged. We are all unfolding ourselves within the dream of the Great Mother. Pachamama literally means realm of the mother. Okay. And this is a Quechua term that I learned many years ago working with different wisdom keepers of that lineage. And I use this continually, not because I'm trying to culturally appropriate what I learned from them. It's because this particular term, when I speak of the earth, Pachamama, in this way, it touches my heart. I can feel my love and affection for her when I end the words, saying these words. So that's why I say Pachamama instead of Mother Earth, instead of Gaia, instead of Tara. Okay. So I encourage you guys to pay attention to these kinds of details when you're describing things, because the words we choose are really important, in that it's more important that it touches us authentically in our truth when we're saying it than the meaning of the word that everybody understands. And I know this is like the opposite of what we're taught. You need to use words that other people understand. But that's if you want to talk with people intellectually from mind thought, from mind space to mind space. But this is an activation. This is a full body, full subtle body encompassing process. So lip service won't do it. It needs to be an authentic truth that I'm triggering within myself for it to land and touch the authentic truth within you. Okay. So this is why I choose the different terms that I choose that are perhaps a little bit unusual. And imagine what our conversations would be like if we were conveying authentic truth to each other all the time, not just conveying ideas. Instantly, that dynamic of I'm right, you're wrong would totally go out the window, because it's no longer about right or wrong. Then the exchange quickly shifts into witnessing a person in their truth. And when you're witnessing a person in their truth and having a dialogue on that level, as in they're also listening to you and your truth, all of a sudden you guys are available for each other in a much deeper way. And that connection is way, way more meaningful, far beyond anything that you might disagree over. Because it's no longer, I think this and you think that. It's more of, I'm in the state of this. This is my state of being around this. Okay. And then the person is holding space and listening. And then if you're, when you're in person and you're having an exchange, they can come back and say, I see that. And this is how my state of being is. This is how I feel about that. Okay. So just food for thought in the coming days about how you communicate and what level you're communicating on. Just because you're using words does not mean you're communicating on the same level with other people. I believe this is how a lot of misunderstandings happen, because some people think you're talking about on this level, but you're really sharing on this level, right? And people who are here, in the mental, they're all about thinking and thought and right and wrong. So they're not even going to recognize let's say the callousness that they're doing when you're sharing something that's in your heart. Or maybe they will. It really depends on the person. Some people are able to go deep into the intellectual and never lose their authentic truth and their heart space. Some people really do achieve that. And, we are all in our place in the spectrum of this. So Pachamama is the great dreamer. She's the sacred great dreamer that we are all submerged in. And this next level here, this is everything from the crust of the earth to the core. And this is the telluric realm. The telluric realm is the realm of crystals and gems and minerals and plants and microbes and all these different things. And our body is a beautiful model of the telluric realm. Our body has countless life forms within it that create this body. We have trillions of bacteria and viruses within our body. We have trillions of life forms within our body that's part of our function. So we are fully integrated. This biosuit is a fully integrated telluric biosuit. So our thoughts and our feelings and the different things that we experience that this body allows us to experience, it's a full-on experience. It impacts us down to the very cellular level. Okay. And this is the wisdom of the telluric realm. So everything on the crust below the skin is considered telluric, and everything below the crust of the earth is considered telluric. There are lots and lots of healing processes that work with the telluric realm. It's the foundation of this physical world. It's the foundation of our experience of 3D space. Okay. And of course, 3D is everything that's happening here on the crust. And in 3D, we experience separation. Like, I'm so many feet away from this tree. I'm so many feet away from, or so many thousands of miles from this person, right? So 3D gives us that kind of experience of separation, which is meant to be a magical wonderland, but it's been a little twisted. Yeah, I think we can agree on that. All right, I'm going to say hello to our peeps here. Hello, dear sister Lavana, and hi, Nancy from Virginia. Hey, Beverly and Joanne. Mwah, good to see you, darling. And Sherry from Oregon. Welcome, 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 guys. All right, so 3D space. This is where I just left off, and then we have this canopy here, which is 4D field. It's also our experience of linear time. Linear time is something we experience in this 3D, but it's actually a 4D aspect of this human experience. So 4D time is, as Einstein called it, it's relative, but it also flies like an arrow. There's a beginning, a middle, and an end. There's it's a linear kind of idea. As soon as you get past this 4D field and start going into the higher dimensional realms, time has a very different meaning. Like, for example, time in 5D is cyclical. It goes in circles or it goes in spirals. Okay, so that means you can go into the Akasha and heal your present by healing the past, or heal your present by reclaiming energies from the future. You can even guide, envision your future by dreaming it through that Akasha, through all these realms, and actually pull the energy of your vision to inform you in the here and now. So that becomes the truth within your body, and it actually pulls you like a magnet towards that destiny. Okay, so once you get above this canopy, time has a whole different meaning, and it's not something that's limiting in any way. If anything, it's an empowering force to the human experience. All right, dear sister Lavana says, years ago, I went to a women's retreat in Mount Shasta, 9 women. It was 9 women. This was the harder than expected. Back at home, I was having profound effects on folks. It scared me, but it lasted 2 weeks. Okay, I think there's a typo in there, darling. In Mount Shasta, 9 women. This was the harder than expected. Back at home, I was having profound effects on folks. It scared me, and it lasted 2 weeks. I think what you're talking about, there was a transmission, like a lightning bolt hit, some kind of activation went on, and then you felt the impact for many weeks. Yes, this is how transmissions work. And believe me, actually, no, don't believe me. I'm just going to give you a heads up that we are as a collective, in for massive transmissions to be coming through spirit in the coming years. Okay. because we're talking about new paradigm, or maybe new infinite universe consciousness versus old paradigm or finite universe consciousness. Okay, we're actually leaving one universal reality and going to another. I know that defies everything that we think we know about science, but as I've been saying, we've been lied to for quite literally hundreds of thousands of years. So we don't know what reality really is. We think we know, we think we have an idea, but as soon as you start going into these other realms and dimensions and how they're interacting with you in the here and now, you realize just how deeply lied to we are and just how backwards humanity is. Robbing us of our history has a very significant impact, because any story can be made up to fill in the gaps, and we'll believe it because we don't know better. And this is, one of those stages of the manipulation of consciousness. There are so many movies that are tells about how malleable human consciousness is. I don't know if you've ever seen that one movie with Charlize. Oh, I'm totally manipulating mutilating her name, but she was. It's called The Ghost in the Shell. Okay, so what they did, and I'm going to total spoiler here, I'm going to ruin the movie for you, is because this is kind of like something you don't find out to the end of the movie. But she was a rebel. She was a really, she had a very, she was well trained in encounter work. She was a really impactful, profound rebel. And she fought. She was like a freedom fighter, and they finally captured her and killed her. But they transferred her consciousness out of her body and made a clone of her, and wiped her memories and put her consciousness back in the body and lied to her. They told her that she's been an agent for all these years. She's one of the best agents they've ever had, and she's been doing this amazing work for many years, and she was taken out by the rebels, and they saved her so she can continue doing the good work that she's been doing. Now, that was a whole lineup of lies, so she would buy the program and work for them instead of work for the rebels. Now, this is how powerful the human experience is, and the human spirit is that who we are beyond ego driver it's in our energy. It's not kept in the brain. It's not kept in someplace local. It's kept within the frequency, in the frequency of our soul song. It's kept in a place like this. So no matter how many lies that get compiled, eventually, if the spirit is strong enough, it cracks through those lies and you wake up to who you are. And in that waking up process, it's massively disorienting and confusing, because it takes time to accept that the lies that you once believed were the truth are lies. It takes time to accept it. And as in this movie, as she was accepting it, slowly, more and more of those memories came back. So this is one of the many reasons why I use this activation process in these chats, because not only does it broaden the mental field so we can see perspectives and we can see things through a different perspective, but it's also activating ancient memories inside of you that is beyond the ego driver, that is, that touches on a soul's journey truth. And the more you touch it, the more accessible it becomes. Okay. All right, keep going. I'm keeping on going. All right, so that time thing, like I was talking about, and let's talk about the astrology, because astrology is a great tool. And I'm not saying that there's not old paradigm astrology, because there absolutely is. Old paradigm astrology astrology has been manipulated, just like all the other mystery schools on this planet. And so some of you guys may have heard about Western astrology versus Ayurvedic astrology, and that there's a very significant difference between the two. And what's explained to me recently by Dear Starshine, who is a Vedic astrologer, she did this really great reading on me for me, and the cycles that she's able to identify within Vedic astrology was astounding. I mean, it was crazy, trippy, accurate. So if you get a chance, I encourage you guys to check out a reading on the Vedic, doing the Vedic astrology. But anyway, I digress. the main difference between Vedic astrology, and this is how she explained it to me, and Western astrology is that Vedic astrology is using the center of the universe as the earth, as in you are on the planet and you are at the center of all of the universe. Okay. And so, and the degrees, the locations of the celestial bodies are in their, they are literally in that place in the sky. So if there are, like say the moon and Jupiter and Saturn are conjunct, you'll actually see them conjunct in the sky, because they are all truly in that place at that degree in that sign together. Versus Western astrology is calculated. It's calculated using the sun as the center of observation, the point of observation, not the earth. So the sun, the degrees using that perception are all calculated. They're not the actual locations that we see in the sky. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, I was like, wow, okay, that explains a lot, doesn't it? For me, it explained a lot. But here's the thing. And I think I know why it was switched. Because when you are looking at the stars, when you are looking at the skies at night, and their locations are moving and shifting, this pattern that you're seeing in the night sky, this is the doorway to the Akasha. This is the doorway past the collective field and into the Akashic knowing and beyond. Okay. So when you are looking at, say, your birth chart, and you're looking at your Vedic birth chart versus the Western astrology birth chart, they're going to be different. Okay. So the Vedic one is showing you clearly the doorway. Okay. It's showing you the doorway versus the Western astrology. It's showing you an idea. Okay. So your Akashic records are accessible through your astrology, and we evolve as we, especially coming from old paradigm into new paradigm, finite universe into infinite universe. We are evolving our consciousness beyond what we've been before. Okay. So that means the astrology maybe isn't necessarily inaccurate, but there's a bigger scope to be expressed. Okay. So, for example, in my chart, I have several major planets that are are exactly conjunct fixed stars, like Saturn. My Saturn is exactly conjunct Sirius. All right. And I have some others that are, like my sun is exactly conjunct Rigel and stuff like this. Now, some people in astrology aren't interested in that because the consciousness of the folks that they work with, or their own consciousness, isn't beyond what the planets, the players of the planets, what they have to say. But as you integrate with who you are more and more and more, especially integrating your non-human experiences in your Akasha, okay, you are starting to transcend the characters, the planetary consciousness that are in the solar ring, and you start to tap into the star essence that is shining through that planetary consciousness. You see what I mean? So for example, my relationship to Saturn is less about the classic understandings of Saturn. My relationship with Saturn is more of structure being a doorway for me to access serious intelligence. No pun intended, right? The actual star knowledge emanating to my being via the custodian of Saturn, right? So that's just because that's how it was in my birth chart. So as you integrate, you transcend your birth chart and you start interacting more directly with star consciousness, with the frequencies that are coming to this planet via stars. So that's one level of that old paradigm, new paradigm thing. The other thing that is happening is that there is a new astrological sign becoming acknowledged in astrology. So there's no longer 12 signs, there are 13. Okay, so this vibrationally has a very significant impact on with our consciousness. So there's a Actually, the only person I ever heard really talk about this was Eisenhower. What's her first name? Laura Eisenhower. She talks about the 12th sign and stuff. And I agree with her. She's right. As this comes in and has an impact subconsciously for us, it's impacting the doorway that we have into these higher fields of consciousness. So what I am proposing to you guys is that bringing in this 13th sign into the 12th sign zodiac is actually broadening the aperture. So to allow for higher states of consciousness of the infinite universe into our psyche. It's like it's building the foundation that holds the doorway, the capacity for us to bring that consciousness and embody it within ourselves. Because this new universe, the infinite universe, is coming into our reality within us all. We embody it. We walk through the world with that energy alive inside of us. Therefore, it becomes part of our experience in the external. Okay. This is a huge thing because people, because of the shenanigans going on, a lot of people are finding respite in isolation, finding respite by excluding themselves from groups, when really this is the time where we need to be engaging groups, like-minded groups, as much as possible, building those bonds, building those connections, because we are resonating at these levels together and we are reinforcing each other. We are inspiring each other. We are supporting each other with our presence. And this time that we're going through right now is not about an individual awakening process. This is about the collective awakening process. That's why many of the gurus and monks that have been living high up in the mountains, this is why they're coming down. This is why we have access as homemakers to these extraordinary skills, because it's no longer about the one, it's about the many. Okay, this is that Aquarian energy. It's about the many. And you can see now how that leap in consciousness has been taken advantage of by the powers that be, right? They've taken that frequency that is a core frequency blooming within us all, and they twisted it to fit their specific agenda. Okay, so we don't have to abide by that. We are here to envision our own dreams. It's our responsibility to step forward and reclaim our influence in the dream time in creating this reality. And this is how we do it with each other, with the collective. In Light Body Academy, we have something called the Dreamtime Healing Project. Now, there's no way years ago for this project to exist, because humanity wasn't at the level of consciousness to really be able to process it. But now we are. And what we're finding, and it takes just a few months for many people, just a few months. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer depending on, your particular formula of blind spots. But what we're waking up to more and more in that project is how we are all collectively dreaming. We are all in the same fabric, dreaming together, the same dream. Okay. How we're waking up to that is that we are dismantling the blind spots generated by our ancestral beliefs, generated by our individual beliefs, the different constructs of rules and regulations of how reality is supposed to be and who we think we are. We are unraveling those blind spots. And as we do this, we are seeing more clearly that we are all in the same landscape, dreaming the same dream together. And in the dream shares, this is how, especially the dream labs, they're both very different in what they do, but we do larger dream groups and smaller dream groups, and dream groups. And what happens is that the one with the dream that has the big opening into these upper echelons of transmissions, though, we all track it. We all feel and listen deeply to the dream share. And in that we open up to the transmission that is available. We do this together because this is our mind getting out of the way to experience the energy. Okay. And that energy in the moment, you might feel something going on, but its true impact is the next day, the day after that, the week after that, the month after that. There's different, you're more open to things. You realize you're having certain epiphanies and directions you didn't have before. Like your awareness is expanding as a result of these dream shares, of these awakenings. So your blind spots unravel even more quickly when you're doing this. All right. So these, as we recognize that we are collectively dreaming, we can, on a much grander scale, the galactic scale and beyond, can start pulling things forward that is in our heart's desire to bring to this world, to gift humanity, to gift the Pachamama. Okay, this is our true function. This is the truth of the true expression of our higher humanity. Us doing that, us dreaming deep into the echelons of the cosmos and pulling forward what our heart wants to gift to the world, gift to each other. Okay. And I can imagine that you guys are thinking that that's not exactly what's happening right now. But what I'm saying is that more and more humans are waking up to this, and we are stepping into it more and more and more. All you can do is start with what you have and just stay committed and own the responsibility of dreaming this world into being. Own and take responsibility of you doing your part to dream this world into being. Okay. Us discovering new planets in our solar ring, us discovering new astrological signs in the astrology is all a reflection of what has already awakened within humanity. Okay. So we're at the tip of the iceberg right now. There's way, way more to drop in for us, way more. And this is why I'm talking to you guys this way. So you can really, examine the mind thoughts that keep you limited to, thinking small, and understand that you are a quantum creator and you have the ability right in here, right now, to apply it, to use it in the way that your heart desires. Okay. Okay, so I was on the astrology piece. So we have our 13th sign. We have transcending your birth chart. We have looking at astrology with Earth being the center versus the sun being the center. Okay, those pieces are all important. So the final piece with that is paying attention to the cycles. The cycles that are happening are really important for us to be aware of. And and the reason why we want to be aware of them, not, to have something to point at on why you feel bad today, or why communications are failing, or why your electronics aren't working because it's a retrograde, blah, 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 blah. That's just child's play. What I'm talking about is understanding these cycles so you can piggyback your own intents, your own intention to be in harmony, in rhythm, in resonance with the cycles. So now you are super fueling your intention to go along with the movements of the solar ring. The solar ring now becomes even the wind beneath the wings of what you are intending for your reality. Okay. So we just had a 20-year cycle kick off, perfectly timed for the COVID shenanigans, right? In 2020, that was the start of the new cycle. You know what the start of the new cycle, but the previous 20 years was 9/11. Okay. And you can go back 20 years before that. So these cycles, if you recognize world events through the lens of cycles, you'll see very clearly on how mega events happen right at the start of a new cycle. That's not by accident. These people know exactly what they are doing, and they are relying on humanity and staying clueless. But now you can't claim ignorance now. Now you know that you have the ability to piggyback your intent on these cycles. So here we are at the solstice. This is the new sun. This is the new sun that's going to continue until summer solstice. So for the next 6 months, you can supercharge your intent by envisioning it right now, envisioning it. You have until tomorrow to finish your envisioning, to piggyback on this cycle. And I'm encouraging you to do that. And don't ego driver stuff. It's not about safety and security. That's not what it's about. And this is what a lot of people want to manifest. They want to manifest safety, security, money, status, ego driver bullshit. Okay. Not that money isn't important, or, these certain things that your ego driver needs to feel safe isn't important, but I'm saying it's squandering a massive opportunity to manifest your heart's desire. It's squandering an opportunity to go big, to dream bigger. Yeah, I think it does follow Pisces, and I can't remember the 13th sign. Let's see if Siri has it. Hey, Siri, what is the 13th sign in the zodiac? It's just because I can't remember right now. It's called Ophiuchus. 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 This is how you spell it. It's O-P-H, P as in Paul, H-I-U-C-H-U-S. That's it. Thank you for asking, because I totally would have forgot. All right, so ego driver stuff, right? So ego driver stuff keeps us small and keeps us in our comfort zone. And the thing is, transformation, growth does not happen within your comfort zone. It happens outside that comfort zone. So desiring safety and comfort, thank you, Beverly, for posting that, is something that keeps us limited. Okay. Pursuing safety and comfort keeps us limited. It's important to remember that. So when I'm saying take advantage of these cycles, I'm saying piggyback your biggest dreams for humanity on the momentum of these cycles. Okay. And this particular cycle is extraordinary because it's coming along. It's following that eclipse, the triple eclipses, but it's also coming along with a much larger cycle coming online. And we're talking about the Kali Yugas, which those cycles are millions and billions of years long. Okay. So there are, during this window of time, till about 2023, 2025, it's a window, right? During this window of time, many, many, many grand cycles, small cycles and grand cycles are coming to an end and are resetting. This is why they're using the words, the Great Reset. Okay. Really, they're not lying to you about these titles, because it really is a great reset. Now, if we don't step up and piggyback our envisions as a group on these cycles, they're going to win out because we said yes to it. Okay. So as long as we're not saying yes to it, instead we're saying yes to what we are envisioning with our own tribe, then you know what I mean? We're still playing ball. We're still in an empowered place. So these cycles are all coming to an end, and the window is between 2000, there's arguments over the window, but my sense is, now that I'm seeing all this stuff unfold, the window was between 2012 and 2025. That's the window we have, where all these cycles are coming to an end and beginning anew. So there's a Kali Yuga cycle ending and a new one beginning. And the Kali Yugas are so long, millions, billions of years long. It takes the beginning of the new cycle takes several hundred years to take place. So these small cycles and large cycles are all coming to a conclusion within that window of time. And this is our opportunity to reclaim our reality for humanity, to reclaim our reality for the great mystery, the spark that is within us. because this argument going on, the shenanigans going on, we think it's about mandates, but it has nothing to do with mandates. That is the blah, blah, blah narrative that has everybody emotionally charged, and, you know, the rioting and all this stuff. That's the focus they want you on. So you resist, spending all your energy on resisting instead of seeing the bigger picture. Okay. The real conflict that's going on here is between humanity, the idea that humanity is part of the great mystery and holds the spark of life and is part of the miracle of life and dreaming beauty forward. Okay, that idea versus the idea that humanity is a resource to be harvested, to be calculated, to be commodified. That is truly what the battle is between. So all this digital analyzation of us, we have avatars online, we have profiles online that encapsulates all of our habits, all of the things we like to do, the groups that we pay attention to and surf, the kinds of things we talk about, the kind of movies we watch. Everything that we are interested in is cataloged and saved and profiled. So in that system, we are just a number. We're just a commodity to be exploited. But in this natural system, I'm going to say the system that is the mystery, then this is where everything can be unknowable. Okay, we can be steeped in the unknown and come back to ourselves and come back to our people with great stories to tell, stories that open humanity to a larger idea of who they are and how they fit in, stories that heal the hearts of the wounded, okay? Stories that empower us with the greatness that we truly have the capacity for. Very different models of reality. This is what's happening. We need to decide the convenience of the commodification of our quantum, right? Because it's very convenient. I mean, how easy is paying bills these days? You can just do it online. Get paid online. You can work online. You can work in your pajamas for a lot of people. Right. So amazingly convenient. But then you have this other model here of of humanity being the expression of the great spark. That actually takes passion. It takes work. It takes our focus. It takes so much of our will, but it's not a will to fight. It's the will to manifest beauty, the will to create joy, the will to elevate and create greatness. Okay, takes a lot more work, but believe me, that has so much more love, so much more joy, so much more expansion and freedom in it than this whole commodity life force model. Or I'm sorry, I said that backwards. Life force being a commodity model. Okay. There's so much to be said about this, and the astrology. Let the astrology change. And if you want to start activating the higher aspect, actually, all of you who are here in this group, you're already activating the higher aspects of your astrological chart. But if you want to just accelerate that and consciously get involved in that, take a look at your chart, get your birth chart done, and start looking at the stars that are in alignment behind those planets. Start looking at the star knowledge that is available to you through these characters, through Saturn, through Jupiter, through Pluto, through Mercury, through Venus, through Mars, okay? When you do that, you transcend the stories. I know I said that, but I'm saying it again. When you do that, you transcend the characters of the astrology. For example, Mars being the god of war. You can actually liberate Mars from that role and instead be a great caretaker of ancient star knowledge. He can become an awakener. He can be completely shift the archetype. In the old world, he was a warrior and one that, considered the god of war. In the new, he's the awakener, or he can be if you choose that frequency. And this is going to sound crazy, but this is how we steer. This is how we steer where we go in the cosmos. There was, a lot of talk about the photon band, and people were looking at the amount of time that our solar ring spends in the photon band and its current trajectory, and how much time is in darkness. And there's way more time in darkness than in light. Okay. But that's only because that's the trajectory that we're on. As soon as we're in that fully imbued environment and we wake up to who we are, we actually have the ability to navigate through the stars in our solar ring. We can direct the sun to go in the trajectory that our consciousness guides it to be. That is a collective thing. It's not an individual thing. So the power over dynamic model, if we choose that, then we're not we're giving up our ability to steer, to choose our destiny, choose our patterns. We're giving it over to the pilot of the jet airliner. And so, guys, I'm running out of time. So let me close up with this. There is a movie that just came out, and I didn't go to the theater. I watched it on HBO Max, but because I don't know if you guys know this, it comes free with your iPhone. Anyway, and I watched The Matrix 4 just recently. There are massive tells in that movie. Okay. I'm not going to analyze the movie here, but the one big tell that I'm going to point out in the closing here is that the war between AI machines and humanity does end. Okay. And if you've been listening for a while, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm talking about us reenacting the yet another level of reiteration of the Orion Wars. Okay. Oh, the Orion Wars happened long time ago. And this story was told to us through movies as well. And it was all about the technology versus the organic. And the coming of the Matrix movie just shows the transcendence of that divide, that it's no longer synthetic versus organic. It is about those that want to live those that surrender and want to be in a controlled environment, not being responsible, and those that want responsibility and want the freedom that responsibility affords. That's what the divide becomes about. It's about freedom and sovereignty versus those that don't want that. Okay. Huge tell right there, just to get you started. Because there's a lot of really good stuff in there. As an entertaining movie goes on a surface level, it's definitely worth your time. It's I'm an older person now because I was young when the original Matrix came out, and now that I see the characters of Neo and Trinity as older people, it's like I totally relate with that age group now. Because there's a humility that comes with age, I believe. Because when you're young, you're in your 20s and your teens and 20s, you think you know it all, you think you got it all figured out, and then as life deals you surprises and throws you for loops and gives you a few right hooks, you realize, okay, I don't have it all figured out. and you learn a lot, me personally learn a lot more humility around life and the unpredictability of it. And in the integration work that I've done, that unpredictability has actually turned into something that's exciting. The unknown is something that I love because the potential is endless. I am in charge of my destiny when I'm looking at the unknown versus being, on that jet airliner that's being piloted by another person, staying comfortable, staying secure. Some people just, that's all they want and that's what they're going to live. Right. But other people like you and me, we're not content with that trajectory. We want to take responsibility and create the world that we want. We want what is true to us versus dealing with what's been given to us. right? We want our birthright. We want to come back into our galactic citizenship and step into who we are as multidimensional galactic citizens in this universe, not, simply our father's daughter or mother's son, right? We want to step into who we are as a true human, our humanity at its highest expression, right? Versus humanity in its, I would say, lower expression, because no one is caretaking 3D reality in that controlled model. Us stepping into our highest potential, that's us stepping into our custodialship of this reality, reclaiming our responsibility for it. Okay. All right. Well, the hour went by so fast. All right, guys. Well, hopefully I was able to convey these pieces well enough where you can see the bigger picture here. I encourage you to check out the cycles of astrology and just bust out of what a lot of people think astrology is used for, about predicting or explaining why things are. Just, forget about that stuff and really look at it with cycles and what you can piggyback what cycles feels right for you to piggyback your intentions upon. That's the big takeaway here, is stepping into that quantum creatorship role that is possible for you right here, right now. You just need to educate yourself on the bigger picture of what's going on in the solar ring and beyond. Okay. Love you, darlings. If you're interested in the quantum reality shift for 2022, I do encourage you to check out lightbodyacademy.com and start the new year off in a way that is empowered, that is inspiring, and with support you need with like-minded people. So thank you. We'll see you guys next time. Mwah, mwah.